All right, so right now we're going to go over the pretest. So this is the unit, come on now, unit 0 pretest.
If I talk to myself now, will future Jack hear this?
Yes. All right, so first we have 1 through 3. Number 1, what are the coordinates of point E? So on the first page, that was the highest score for everyone. So the coordinates for point E, what are they? So I go 1, 2, 3, 4. So the x is 4.
-3.
So it can't be that one, it can't be that one.
It's A.
It can't be that one. So just knowing the x coordinate, we can get A. And we go down 3. 1, 2, 3. So 4, -3. Questions on 1. I'm looking for raised hands, and that will stop me, and then we can talk about it. So number 2, what are the coordinates for point D? We go over to the right, 0, and then we go down Y. So we're looking for a first coordinate of 0. Okay, so it's between C or D, and which one is it, class?
B.
It's D. We go -2. What quadrant is point C in? Remember that this is quadrant 1, this is quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. So point C is in
3.
quadrant 3. All right, let's go to our next slide. I'm going to make a few of those. All right, and I need to screenshot, I guess I'll just screenshot 4 for now. All right, so this is number 4. Which graph matches the data below? All right, so x is -1, y is 3, or y is -3. So let's go -1, -3. Nope, it's not A. I go -1, -3. There it is. Okay, it could be B. -1, -3. I'm looking for a point here. It's not there. -1, -3. Looking for a point there. It's not there. Process of elimination. Just with the first point, we know that it's B. All right, moving on to number 5.
Wait,
Yes.
so number 4, it's like when you like go down 3 and then you move 1. Like that's what it is, right?
So x is saying I go -1, so I go left 1, and y -3 means I go down 3. So this says left 1, down 3. This says left and right 0, down 1, right 1, up 1, right 2, up 3. All right, so it's weird that I have this little gray box. That's due to the recording, so we're gonna have to deal with it. So number 5, which has negative values for x? X again goes up and down or left and right, class?
Left and right.
Left and right. So this is our x coordinate, and all positive, is that going to be left or is it right?
That's gonna
Right.
be right.
So what has all right points? And the answer is wrong. No, it's C. All right.
Wait a minute. Oh, never mind. Sorry.
So be correcting your own pretest. You can write all on your pretest. All right, so coming back here, we have, I think we can fit 6, 7, and 8 on here, hopefully. 6, 7, and 8. All right, so number 6, 7, and 8. Number 6, which of the following equations is not a linear equation? Remember, linear equation, you can have an x to the power of 1 and an x to the power of 0, but that's it. You cannot have, and I'll do this in red, things that you cannot have. Can you stop throwing that around?
What are you talking about?
You cannot have x to the power of -1, which is the same thing as 1 over x. You cannot have x to the power of 2. Those are bad. Those are in red. All right, so A, let's look at it. A has just x and y. We're good. So it's not A. We're looking for something that's bad. This is divided by 7, but you're allowed to divide by 7. You can divide by number. You just can't divide by x. Remember, when I divide by x like I have on the right over here, that's bad, so it can't be B.
It's C.
It's C. Look, we're dividing by x. X is now in the denominator. It can't be D because there's no division here. So C, we're dividing by x, so cannot be C. Or C is not linear, therefore the answer is C. Remember, you're raising your hand to ask questions. Johnny, you should be writing on your pretest for everything that you got wrong, following along with the notes. So Johnny, can you open up your pretest, please? Okay. You have it open? Okay. Number 7. Find the slope of the line containing these points. All right. What is slope again? It's delta over delta. What is it? Delta. Which one goes on top, guys? Y or X?
Y.
delta y over delta x. And remember, when we have a coordinate point, we have x comma y. And our second point is y, so we're going to do our second point first. So our change in y. How much do we change to go from -1 to 0? How much did we move to get from -1 to 0?
1.
We had to move 1. How much do we move to get from 2 to -5? From 2, so I started up at 2, and I moved 7, but I moved in which direction? -7, yeah, so this is -7. So the correct answer here is
So no, I forgot what the
D.
slope was, so I just kind of made a graph.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can make a graph of these points, and then you can do rise over run, or the delta y over delta x. That'll work too.
I got 2 out of 10 though.
Do I see hands?
Me too.
Do I see hands? No hands. Okay, number 8. Which gives a slope and y-intercept for this graph? So again, slope-intercept form means to be in y equals mx plus b form. So I need to turn this into that form. So I'm going to subtract the 2x, so my equation is now going to be 3y is equal to -2x plus 2. I just subtracted 2x from both sides. And then to get y by itself, like I have over here, sometimes this is called y form. This is going to be y is equal to, what's my slope going to be?
2.
Close. I'm dividing both sides by 3.
2 over 3.
Close. Or -2.
2 over 3.
-2 over 3. X plus 2 over 3. I divide both of these terms by 3. Every single term in this equation is divided by 3. So our slope is right here. This is slope. This is our y-intercept. Okay, so m, this is m, and this is b. M needs to be -2/3. Only one of these has the correct slope, and that's A.
Dang it.
I see no hands. I'm going on to number 9.
Wait,
You're going too fast, did you know
I
that?
need to write that all down.
So-
no.
When I'm going too fast, that means you're raising a hand. So let me put on the brakes.
Okay.
All right, so on to number 9 and 10. All right, so number 9. What is the equation that has a slope of 3 and contains a point? Oh, a slope and a point. Does that sound familiar in terms of one of the types of equations we know how to graph? One of the lines? Johnny? Are you on your phone right now, Johnny? You're staring at your lap. Okay. So over here, this is going to be slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form. Give us the equation, someone. It's y minus...
Y minus... Is it 4?
-2.
Y minus
-2
-2?
is equal to
Slope.
slope, which is the slope,
3.
3, times the quantity of x minus...
4. Oh, dang it.
4.
I just put x plus 4. That's what...
Yeah, the general form, I can write it over here. So this is general. Is going to be y minus y1 is equal to slope times x minus x1.
Wait, Mr. Sandel, why is it minus 4 and not plus 4?
Ooh, good question. Someone else answer that. Why is this a -4 and not a +4? This is a +4. Shouldn't it be a +4?
Because that's the equation. X minus x.
Is it because 2 is negative? Or does that not have to do with it?
No, it's
No.
just the equation. It's y minus y equals m. X
But 4
minus
is
x.
positive.
So Jack is he gets to the point of the matter. So see the equation over here?
Yeah.
It's x minus x1, x minus x1. Just the same way that we do our y's. Y minus y1, y minus, and y1 was -2. So always keep the negative from the formula.
Okay.
And then this, obviously, when I have two negatives, negatives kiss, they become a positive, and our final answer is B.
Oh, good going. Oh my god.
Hands for question, hands for break.
No, we're Gucci.
Then we go on to number 10. All right, so we're looking for something that's perpendicular. Perpendicular means what do I do to this to the original slope?
Keep it, change it, flip it.
Keep it, change it, flip it is our
Copy.
rule
Oh
for
wait, no,
Chop
that's
it.
something
for
else.
dividing by a
Chop it.
fraction.
I don't know.
First of all, what was the slope of this equation? What is the number of the slope?
Plus 2. I mean plus b.
What is the slope?
Y of the slope slope
It's
is
2x. No, it's not. Yet. No.
It's X.
It's x.
Slope is just a number. Slope can be a third. It can be negative 3/5. The slope here is 2. Slope is the coefficient of the x. It's the number before the x. Maybe you want to add that to your notes. It's the number before x. All right, so if this is our slope, then what do we do to our slope in order to get perpendicular? I mean, if it was parallel, then we'd keep it the same.
You add. You divide. Or, no.
It's the opposite. Reciprocal.
Ow, I just put my.
So opposite means I negative it. I add another negative, so it can become positive. And reciprocal means that I flip it. So what is our slope? It used to be 2. Now it is
1 over negative.
Negative 1 over 2.
negative 1 over 2. So that's the correct slope that we're looking for. This is our slope.
Yomp.
Yom.
So you'll find that all of these have that correct slope. Each of these have a correct slope. If I divide both of these first two equations by 2 to get it in y equals mx plus b form, to get it in slope-intercept form, then it's going to have this correct slope because you can see this negative x divided by 2 is negative 1 over 2x. So all of these have the correct slope. All of them don't have the correct y-intercept, though. So which one has the correct y-intercept?
C.
No, because I guess C.
I guess D and it was.
Let's do the same thing that we did for our previous problem up here where we did, right up here, where we did point slope form. Let's do point slope form and then convert it into slope intercept form. So give me this in point slope form. Johnny, you want to help us out? Point slope form for this equation. We know our slope, but we don't know our y-intercept. So give us point slope form. It's going to be y minus something.
Johnny, you're wasting time.
Y minus our y-coordinate.
Plus 3.
So y plus 3, you saw the double negatives, is equal to slope. Someone else shout it out. What was our slope?
Negative 1/2.
Negative 1/2. Keep filling in our equation.
Equals X.
Gosh.
It's minus 1, yeah. All right, now rearrange the formula so that's in one of these forms. So let's go ahead and subtract 3 over and distribute the negative 1/2. Maybe we should distribute first.
This is too much.
It's a lot, I know. But this is how you do it.
I'm simple-minded.
So
Not meant for me.
when I distribute the negative 1/2, I get y plus negative 1/2 x. Negative 1/2 x plus 1/2. And notice that none of these have plus 3 for their y, so I'm going to subtract 3, and I get this equation. So I subtract 3 from both sides, and I get y is equal to negative 1/2 x. And then when I subtract 3, this is going to be what? I'm doing 1/2 minus 3. Minus 3.
It's not negative 1/2 anymore?
So it's 1/2 here. Oh, it's negative 1 times, or negative times a negative is a positive, so that's
okay.
where the positive came from.
So we got negative 1.
So 1/2 minus 3.
That's negative 2.5.
Negative 2.5, yeah. So you can say negative 2.5. All right, we're looking for an answer that looks like this. I don't see it here. I don't see it here. Ooh. So I know it can't be these two. It might be in a different form. Let's multiply everything by 2. If we multiply everything by 2, what's that going to be? Our new equation. Multiply everything by 2. Left side.
I feel so unwild.
What's y times 2? Class.
It's 2y.
2y. What's negative 1/2 x times 2?
Negative x.
Negative x.
She's made
What's negative 2/2 times 2?
negative.
Plus 5.
Close.
Negative 5.
Negative 5. And there's our answer. B.
Oh.
That was a long question. That's one of the harder ones. I didn't expect everyone to get that one.
We shouldn't have this on the
We
test.
should have this.
I don't
on
think
test.
anyone got that one.
BS.
So, do you guys want to know the shortcut for the test?
No. Wait, yeah.
It's all these problems.
Shortcut for the test. If I give you a point, plug in that point and see which one works.
Wait, how do you plug in the point?
Plug in the point. This is your x coordinate. Plug that into all of the x's. This is your y coordinate. Plug that into all of the y's.
So I just do 2 times 1 is 2 equals.
So you're plugging in our y
2
to be
times -3 is -6.
one. You're right. 2 times -5.
Oh, extra credit.
No.
The point.
2 times -5, and then negative. I'm plugging in.
Equals negative 1 minus 2.
Minus 5 because of the -5 here.
Oh yeah.
So I get.
Why'd you do 2 times -5?
I still don't know what I'm doing.
You know what?
What should this be?
That should be a -3.
Should be a -3.
So we got -6 equals.
Oh my god.
-6 equals
-6.
-6. Yeah. So once you get something that is equal to each other, then you got the right answer.
Okay, we shouldn't have this on the test.
It's gonna be on the test. Study it.
Well, we're
Next time
gonna
you should
fail
tell us
it.
We can just plug in the points. So we don't look like a bunch of
I
dummies.
refuse to do it.
Like a
Next time,
little
plug in the
bump.
point. That's a quicker way of doing it. All right. Let's go on to. Let's go on to 11 and 12.
H. Just.
I don't know how I got this right.
All right. 11. Solve for x. Tell us what to do. Tell me what to do, and I'll do it.
Okay.
Okay, go on.
I did
What?
x minus 2 equals 3 plus 4x.
Okay. Well, that's
Subtract
You
2
just
from
rewrote
both
it.
sides.
Bro,
Sub-
I got it right too.
subtract 3 from both sides.
2.
Subtract 2 from both sides. You can't subtract 2 from both. Well, I mean, you could, but
Add 2.
let's add 2 to both sides.
What you meant? You know what I meant.
What do you mean?
What do you mean with it?
X is equal to 5 plus 4x. Then what do I do?
Subtract.
Divide by 4.
Divide by 4.
You can't-
4x.
You can't
No, you
divide.
X equals
subtract
negative
it.
5 over 3.
We need to subtract the 4x. Yeah. So when I subtract 4x, I get equal to 5.
Yes.
And then finally, I divide both sides by
3.
-3. And I get x is equal to negative
5 over 3.
5 over 3.
How did I get that right?
I don't know how I got it.
I stopped right there. I just, like, yeah.
Good luck.
All right, number 12. I'm solving for a.
Yeah,
So
right.
what do I do? What do I do to both sides first?
Oh shit, I didn't even answer this page.
What?
I just guessed.
So I rewrote the equation.
All right.
And then I multiplied 4 R on both sides.
Okay, so we're paying attention. We're multiplying r on both sides. So that'll get rid of the r on the right, and we'll add it to the left. So I have s times r is equal to, I no longer have the r on the right-hand side. So 1,780 times AD. What do I need to divide both sides by in order to isolate a?
D.
I could divide by d. So I'm going to divide by d, and I get SR divided by d. I no longer have a d on the right, is equal to 1,780a. I don't know where that 0 went. 1,780a. Then from here, how do I isolate for a? Last step?
Divide by A.
No, I need a by itself, so divide by everything that isn't a.
Divide by 1780.
Yeah, so divide by 1780, and you get s times r divided by d, and also divide by 1,780. That's going to equal a. Do we see anything like that? SR over 1,780d?
80.
We got 1780D.
Yeah, and you can, this is the commutative property of multiplication. You're allowed to switch these two. It might be if we don't get through the entire test.
Hell no.
All right, questions on 12.
Yeah.
No.
Oh my god.
Why so many layers?
That's okay.
Okay, the video will be up so we can review it if we need to.
How the hell did I get this one wrong?
Oh my gosh, what's going on?
I'm not as confused as a frog taking a bath. Wait, what?
Okay.
All right, number 13. What do we do to both sides? Well, let's get this distribution done first. So, distribute the 2. I'm not pronouncing it right. Distribute the 2 and the left-hand side is equal to
2x plus 4.
2x plus 4 plus 4 minus 7, and I'm just rewriting the rest. Mine is less than 8x plus 15. All right, Johnny, can you simplify the left-hand side really quick for us?
Subtract 2x, put it on the other side.
Oh, you want to go ahead and... Okay, we can start moving stuff, too.
That's how I
Okay.
did it.
Yeah, so that works. So subtract 2x, and then I'm left with 4 minus 7, which is... What?
3.
Negative 3, close.
Sorry.
6x plus 15. Finally, what do I do?
15,
Subtract 15, so I get what?
8, negative 18.
Negative 18 is less than 6x. Finally,
Negative 3.
yep, so divide both sides by 6, and I get x is greater than negative 3. And if I flip this around, and I want x on this side and negative 3 on this side, what do I do?
X is still greater.
It's greater than 3. Yeah. Greater than negative 3. So we're looking for A.
Wait, hold on.
So whenever I switch the placement of x and the other side, I need to flip the sign as well. Good job, Johnny. Attaboy. All right, number 14. Isolate the bars. And we isolate the bars, that's done. What's the next step?
Bend them.
Make 2
Bend the bars.
Bend 'em.
2 plus 3x. And then Johnny has the next step for us.
Negative and positive.
So here's our positive path. I'm going to do the negative path over here. 2 plus 3x is equal to negative 14. Then we solve both sides. Someone solve this left-hand side for us, the negative path.
Okay.
Minus 2.
Oh my god.
So you get
Oh.
Got 2 plus 3x equals 14.
You got it?
negative, if I subtract 2 from negative 14,
Negative
12,
close, negative,
16.
yeah, it's negative 16. They both go the same direction. Therefore, x is equal to,
2. I mean,
Wrong.
I don't know.
Divide by 3.
just leave it as negative 16 over 3.
2.
All right, and then this path, if I subtract 2 from both sides, 3x is equal to what?
12.
Therefore, x is equal to
4.
4. So I'm looking for 4 and negative 16 over 3. There it is.
hold on.
Hold on. Hold on. Who? You.
Where did they do that one? I know how to do that.
You want to do it wrong?
I just get really nervous
Read
when
it
it comes
on
to
your own.
testing, okay?
Oh, okay.
You should,
And I
just,
overthink stuff.
you should just give us pass or fail tests.
All right. Pass or fail?
Yep.
But would that mean we would all not pass?
No, we would actually.
Damn, you're really
Oh, for the actual test? I was thinking pretest. No, that would be too mean for the test. This is not a pass-fail class. This is a graded.
No,
Class.
it's like pass down to like 10%. Below 10% is a fail.
Yeah. I like
No.
that.
All right, so I have to make positive, negative paths for this one. So here's my x minus 2 is less than 5. What's my other equation going to be?
X minus negative 2 is greater than negative 5.
Well done, yes. That is the correct negative path. So solving this side, I get x is less than 7. Solving this side, I get x is less than, or x is greater than
Negative 5.
No, it's not. Positive. I mean, negative 3.
negative 3. Yeah, so I'm adding 2 to both sides. If I add 2 to negative 5, I get negative 3.
Okay.
So I need x is greater than 7. Which one of these is greater than 7? So it could be A or D. It can't be these two. But x
It
needs to be
can't
less.
A or B 'cause you need
It's
2
B.
points. I mean, A or C. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I went back here.
My God.
It has to be less than 7. So it eliminates all of these. Which one is less than 7? It's this one. It's B.
God, you're so aggressive. Just send
I'm just
it.
happy because I got that one right. I'm the only one I got right.
All right. We can do all 4 of these at the same time. All right, so is this linear? 16.
Yes.
This is linear because I just have a 4x. Is this linear?
No,
Why is it not linear?
because it's a fraction and x is by itself.
Yeah, I have negative 1 power. I can only have an x that's to the first power or x to the 0 power, which is just a number. Exactly. So this one is no. All right, is this linear? How do I check?
Yes,
It is yes, but why?
there's a pattern.
There's a pattern. This goes up by 10, up by 10, up by 10, adding 10 each time.
Go.
And this goes up by 1, up by 1, up by 1. You have to check both sides. All right, is there a pattern over here? Plus 2, plus 2, plus 2? Is there a pattern over here?
Minus 4.
Minus 4, minus 4, minus 4. So both of these are yes.
Wait. Okay. Never mind.
If there's a pattern on the left and right, then it is linear.
Okay.
Dang, I got these super wrong.
All right.
Super hella ultra.
Let's see if all this can fit on here.
Jack.
All right, so how do I find the slope again? Slope is equal to what?
Slope is equal to rise over run.
Or delta over delta.
Delta y over delta x.
All right, the change in y. To get from 2 to 9, how much did I go by? Did I go up or down? To get from 2 to 9,
7.
I went up 7.
You're like, yup, 7.
To get from 1 to 7, I went
Yup, 6.
up 6. So the correct answer is 7 over 6.
Wait. Wait, how'd
See,
you get
this is why I don't understand because you're going too fast and like I don't know what I'm
Well,
doing.
tell him that he's going too fast.
I just did.
So you told me I'm going too fast? I'll slow down. Slope.
Could you explain it to me though? Like
Yes. So slope, we have the definition of slope, which is delta y over delta x.
John, quit it.
So far, are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. So delta y, remember the y values are the second values. So I'm looking at 2 and 9. My question is, how much do I have to add or subtract from 2 to get to 9? What do I do to 2 to get to 9? What did I do to 2, Syra, to get to 9? I added 7, so positive 7. The next question is the x's. So I start at 1. How do I get to 7? What do I have to do to 1 to get to 7?
You subtracted.
Bruh.
To get from 1 to 7?
I mean, you added.
Added what?
I don't know. 6.
Yeah, so I added 6. So that's where the 6 came from.
Okay.
And then 7 over 6 is the answer.
Okay, I get it.
Okay.
It was just going too fast.
I know I go too fast. And thank you for telling me. Please do keep telling me. We have the same slope formula for number 21. So the question becomes, how do I get from negative 5 to 13? Sorry, we're doing y's first, not x's first. So the question becomes, how do I get from 7 to negative 4? What do I have to do? To get from 7 to negative 4, subtract. Subtract 11, is that right? So what's 7 minus 11? Is that negative 4?
Yeah. Wait. No.
No.
What's 7 plus 4?
What?
So Jack does have the right answer. To get from 7 to negative 4, I have to subtract 11.
Okay, so it's like 11.
So I subtract 11 to get to negative 4, and then the next question is, starting at negative 5, how do I get to 13? What do I have to do to negative 5? Careful here because I'm going positive.
Yup.
No.
What is going on here? All right. So the correct answer here is negative 11 over 18.
See, wait. Sidewalk.
All right. So are we clear on slope? Do I need to review any more on slope?
No, not really.
All right. So let's graph these. Y equals 5. Is that horizontal or is it vertical?
Horizontal. It's this way. What do you do?
That's vertical, up and down.
Yeah.
Perpendicular.
So it's actually not up and down. So whenever you see a Y, think of horizontal. Whenever you see an X, think vertical. Okay, yeah, that's a bad word. Okay, so let's go to the right 5, and we're gonna make a. Oh, sorry. Oh my God.
Wait,
That is.
so then it's the opposite, Mr. Sindel? Like, 'cause you know how like on the graph.
Oh yeah, that's a good way to think about it. So it's the opposite of whatever you see here when you're graphing. So y equals 5. That means I go on the y-axis. I go up to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So y equals 5. I went up 5 on the y-axis, and it wouldn't make sense to go up and down when I have a line at 5. It would make more sense to go left and right. So there's my line. And what is the slope of that line? Is it no slope or is it 0? You have two choices.
It's 0.
0. You're correct.
How is it 0 because it's a negative?
So it's 0 when it's a flat line like this.
Oh.
Because it doesn't slope.
This would be a positive slope. This would be a negative slope. This would be no slope. Or sorry, a 0 slope. I can't say no slope because that means something very specific. All right, let's go to x equals -2. Again, this is the x-axis. So I go -1, -2. There's -2. And it doesn't make sense to have a line that goes left and right, a horizontal line. It makes more sense to have a vertical line that goes up and down. And this has no slope or 0. No slope or 0 for this line.
No slope.
The correct answer is no slope.
As all the slope.
And for those, you don't need to add the arrows, do you?
You should have arrows on the line. All right, we're almost there. We're on the back page now. So whenever you have a horizontal line, that will always be a slope of 0. Whenever you have a vertical line, it will always be no slope. Every single time. So just memorize that. All right, so on to 24 and 25. Command Shift 1. What is going on? I'll just leave it like this.
No, whatever happened to the solar pavilion?
Yeah, I don't know.
All that work.
It disappeared.
What are you talking about?
All
Remember
right.
last year when they make all
So coming in number 24, we need to convert this into standard form into slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is y equals what?
mx plus b.
There it is, mx plus b. I need this form. So I need to move everything onto this side and get y by itself. When I see slope-intercept form, that means y, this thing, needs to be by itself.
Oh.
All right, so getting y by itself, what do I do to both sides?
You subtract.
Subtract what? I'm trying to get y by itself.
No, x. I don't know.
So what am I going to do to both sides here? It's something on the left-hand side. Someone help us out. Sarah's taking good guesses, but we need someone else to help us out too. It can't just be Sarah carrying us.
Divide by 3y.
You can't divide by 3y. I mean, you could divide everything by 3 right now if you wanted to.
Divide everything by 3.
Okay, but when you do that, you have to be careful. You have to divide each term by 3. So if I divide each term by 3, what do I have for this term?
2.
2x. Then what do I have for the y term?
Y.
Plus y. And what do I have on the other side of the equal sign?
5.
5. Okay, that's a good first step. And what's our last step? Because right now we don't have y by itself, we're adding this 2x, so we have to take the opposite of that.
Minus y.
No, we want y by itself, so everything aside from y gets moved.
Divide by 2x.
You can't divide by 2x, it's the opposite of adding 2x.
Subtract.
So subtract 2x, subtract 2x, subtract 2x,
Oh, 2.
and we get y is equal to negative 2x plus 5. And I believe number 24 was asking for slope and y-intercept. So what is the slope of this equation? Slope is
Negative
2. Our y-intercept is
2. 5.
5. All right. Point slope form. Give me the general equation. We have it in our notes already. General equation for point slope form is y minus